All right, so
Let's kick her off.
Tacticon Procast, episode 1. I'd say we're going to just give a little bit of a background on who we are, where we came from, and how we ended up here today, and make it kind of a quick introduction and introduce ourselves so that everybody can get to know us. And then, you know, the episodes hereafter will probably be more along the lines of topic-related things where we, you know, talk about the Second Amendment and our Constitution and
Make ourselves look like fools.
yep, things that are important to us, and you know, talk a little bit of poo, you know, troll the internet.
Nothing better than being a troll.
Nothing better than being a troll.
It's the best.
I like to feed them.
Feed the trolls.
It's my favorite thing to do. All right, so yeah, Jake, that's my name. I'm the owner of Tacticon Armament. I was born in here in Sacramento, California, and this is currently where I reside. It is a tough place to not only run a business, but especially run a firearm related business. So, you know, there's a lot of talk about, you know, a lot of our customers will say, why the fuck are you in California? I do want to preface something right now. If you are listening to this podcast and you have small children around and you don't want them to hear profanities and, you know, some explicit content and sexual innuendos and references, I highly suggest you just wait and listen to this at another time, because I've got a dirty mouth. I got a potty mouth. So
It's true. He's got a potty mouth. I'll do my best.
After I already dropped the F-bomb, but now that that's been out of the way and we've disclaimed that. So, yeah, Sacramento, California, a very difficult place to run a business, but also a very difficult place to run a firearm-related business. But last time I checked, this is still in the United States, and so I'm not going to turn tail and go to any other state, as much as everybody keeps suggesting that I should. I've even had customers, which is super interesting, tell me that they are not going to do business with me because we're in the Communist Republic of California, which is fucking wild.
It's absolutely wild to me that somebody is like, California doesn't exist within the purview of the United States.
Yeah,
it's like they forget what the word united means.
Right.
Even though, like, we are at a little bit of a divide, but that's a topic for another time.
It's very true. I don't. This is where my family is. You know, if you want to make a change, if you want to make a change, you got. Yeah, you definitely have to start with the man in the mirror. If you want to make a change, you can't. It's tough to make a change in a place that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, am I going to change the firearm laws in California? Probably not. And am I going to be a part of the change in California? Absolutely. And if I move to Texas, is that going to help? Probably not. The more of us that leave California, the more difficult it is for the people who are in California to be able to have access to their Second Amendment rights. So I figure it is only. I cannot make a change in a place that I do not reside.
Right.
You know, it's just you're trying to you know, change policy from afar, and that's just, it's really not feasible. So anyway, that's, and we were gonna do that video on I fuck it, I'll just talk about it right now. But we were talking about, Nolan and I were talking about. I said, you know, something popped into my mind about how Beto O'Rourke. You know, if you guys don't know who Beto O'Rourke is, you can look him up. And the first thing,
I'm gonna take your AR-15.
Exactly, that's probably the first video that you'll see. He's,
hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15, your AK-47.
He's a politician out of Texas, and you know he's been popular for saying hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15s back when he was running for president, 2020.
Beto 2020, stay strong.
Beto 2020. But here's the thing. How do I have, like, what do I have in common with Beto O'Rourke, right? Which is, fuck, this podcast is, like, not going the direction that I wanted it to go, which is just tell people who I am and how the company started. But I will get there, I promise. But
we'll wrap it around.
Beto O'Rourke 2020, here's the deal. That dude is a Texas congressman who is literally doing everything he can to strip people of their Second Amendment rights. Why do I have anything in common with him? Well, here's the deal. If that guy wanted to, if he wanted an easier life, he could move to California, for example. In fact, if him and I switched places, it would be a lot easier for me, and it would probably be a lot easier for him. But there would be no impactful change for him or for me if he was attempting to take firearms away from people in California, because we are already prohibited from owning, half the shit that every other state's allowed to own. So for him to come here would be just living in an echo chamber. For me to go there would be doing the same. So yeah, I could go to Texas and I can get full auto suppressed, and make it a hell of a lot easier for me to get our SOT, and make it a lot easier for me to, manufacture the things that I wanted to manufacture. If you're wondering why I'm talking about manufacturing firearms, it's because we started kind of an offshoot of this company. We opened a separate LLC called Breakout Manufacturing, and what we're doing there is we are manufacturing firearms. So if I make reference to manufacturing firearms and you're not seeing firearms on Tacticon Armament, that is because there are none listed, like at least as of yet, but we are in the process of doing so. If I wanted to make life easier.
So hold your horses.
Exactly. Yeah. Hang tight.
Hang tight.
Because it's coming. But it was a total pain in the ass to get FFL in the state of California.
Absolute
so
bitch.
We had approval federally within like a month, and then it took like over a year to get the rest of the paperwork for California DOJ. They just like to throw a fucking wrench in everything. So everything from like, your blueprints on, your facility don't match what they have with the fire department. I mean, just silly stuff.
I'm surprised they didn't lose your paperwork. The government loves to do that.
They do, indeed. Yeah, that would have been a good way to stall the entire process. But anyway, me being outside of California isn't going to do the Second Amendment any favors. Beto being outside of Texas isn't going to do gun regulation any favors. So I can respect the fact that even though it's, I don't agree with anything he's doing, I can respect the fact that he's staying in a state, and being, he is clearly fucking outnumbered.
Oh yeah. He's ratioed for sure.
He is fucking outnumbered like a motherfucker. And I, before everybody, lights me up over this, I have to reiterate that I do not agree with what he's doing.
Yeah.
But anybody that is willing to fucking stand their ground, and make it uncomfortable for themselves to accomplish whatever they believe in, there is some level of respect for that. But outside of that, I cannot get behind anybody that's going to try to dismantle our Constitution like that. So
he's still a cuck.
Yeah,
he's kind of impressive.
He's still like oh, nice. Anyway, full circle. So anyway, let's get into
Jacob Dines. Let's get into Jacob Dines. Why'd you start Tacticon? Talk to me.
So I got out of the Army. I'll go back a little bit. Towers came down, 9/11 happened. Me and my buddy joined the Army. I went into the 173rd Airborne. I got stationed in Italy. I was deployed to Afghanistan in the Kandahar region. Came back, got out, went to UC Davis, got a degree, Bachelor of Science degree in managerial economics. Ended up working for a surety company where their financial guarantees, it's kind of like insurance, but not. And wanted to blow my brains out. I was miserable. Miserable because, not because of the job that I was doing, but because I wanted to, I was trying to help the guy that owned that company kind of build his company out, right? I wanted to help him generate more revenue, and I was trying to get more creative. He was a good dude, and I recommend for anybody listening to this podcast right now, if you're thinking about starting your own business and you're working for a company right now and it's a small business, you're actually in a really good position because just keep your eyes open. Watch. Everybody's a teacher. They'll teach you what to do, what not to do, and I learned a lot from that man. I watched him, how he ran his company. I watched him cultivate the culture in his company. I watched how he managed his expenses and how he generated revenue and established his marketing and how he hired and how he fired. And I picked up a lot of my cues on how to run my own business from that. So, if anybody is out there who is an entrepreneur and wants to start their own company and you're working for somebody right now, just keep your eyes and your ears open, and watch how the people that you work for run their company. And what you agree with and what you don't agree with. And one thing that I didn't agree with was autonomy of the workplace. I really wanted to do things to benefit him, and I felt like I was just kind of my hands were tied, And so I was like, fuck it. If you won't let me do it, then I'll do it myself with my own company. And so I started a baby clothing company because I didn't have a lot of money at the time. And the guy, it was back, this is back in 2013, 14. We were still coming off the tail end of a recession. And, my boss actually used to pride himself on being able to hire college graduates for, less than $20 an hour. I think I started at $17 an hour, right? With leadership experience, coming out of the military with a college degree and a ton of work experience, at the time, I think it was, God, I don't know, 25, 26, but $17 an hour. I mean, it was garbage. So I didn't have any money. Right. So I had to be able to start a company. So what did I do? Baby clothing. I just YouTube University, went on, figured out, okay, how do I create designs using Photoshop, very simple designs. How do I screen print? So I set up a screen printing operation in my garage. I made some designs. I screen printed some baby clothes. I cut my teeth in e-commerce that way. YouTube University, how to build a website, right? How to rank.
YouTube University is one of the greatest things on the planet.
It absolutely is. There's so much information out there to be able to learn whatever it is that you want to learn. I don't give a shit what it is. For anybody to say that they don't know how to do something is absolutely, it's just horseshit. Anybody has the opportunity today's day and age to go out there and learn whatever the fuck they want to learn. You know what I mean? And all this knowledge is available to us. We have, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, right? You can get some misinformation out there, but at any rate, so I went out there, did that, started doing the baby clothing thing, figured out how it all worked, and then transitioned over to the company that I'm in right now. I initially, when I initially started the company, I started it with a partner. It was my brother-in-law. He came to me, and we got together, and he was, he was looking at possibly, at the time, he was a police officer. He still is. And he was part of the SWAT team at the time, and we started with a single product, and it was to solve a problem for my sister who was carrying concealed, and she wanted to carry inside of her purse, but the firearm that she was carrying would go in a holster and then sit in her purse, so you can only draw with two hands, which is kind of defeats the point. Now, not a proponent for carrying in your purse, but if you've got to carry and you can't carry on your body, I guess it's the next best thing.
Right.
Anyway,
we made a FAFO video about that even. That mom.
The mom that,
right?
The Brazil, the guy that came and tried to
it's
take his kid back at gunpoint. It's better to have that on you
than to not.
Correct.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, that dude got schwacked. That was a hell of a.
It was a hell of a video.
That was a hell of a video.
But anyways, yeah. So you made the purse holster.
Yeah, so we made the purse holster. That was fine. Not going to get into too many details of how the partnership dissolved, but I will say that I wanted to get into some products that he didn't want to get into. His reasoning for that was he wouldn't use those products himself. But my background is I would never make a product just because I would use it myself. I would make a product because the market wants it, right? And so I'll just kind of leave it at that. But there was some differences. I ended up buying them out like within year one in 2016, I think it was. Started the company in 2015. Did the baby clothing thing from like 2013 to 2015. Started the company with just concealed carry equipment in 2015, and then bought them out by the end of 2016, I think is when the buyout started. If my memory serves me correctly, I could be wrong. And then from there, we started getting more into tactical equipment, and just kind of read the market, and basically what we were trying to do, like creating products for the market is fairly easy if you know where to look. And I say that because if anybody's out there that wants to get into this business, that wants to start making a business out of tactical equipment and wants to make it better, what you can do is, the pain point that I was trying to solve was when I got out of the military, the first thing I went to do was purchase an AR-15, right? So I had a hard time sleeping without one, to be honest with you. So I went in to my local gun store. I bought an AR for, at the time, $600. And then when I went to get all the stuff for it, I realized that, the guy behind the counter was trying to sell me these sights, these iron sights. I think they were Troy sights for like $180. It was $90 for the front, $90 for the rear sight. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is it's a fucking piece of aluminum. Like, how is this $180? Red dot optics for $500. The sling he was trying to sell me was 70 or 80 bucks. And so it just didn't add up. I'm looking at this shit and I'm like, why? Like, I know what a flashlight costs because I've bought flashlights before.
Right.
So why is he trying to sell me this gun light for $300, $400 when I know how much a fucking flashlight costs? It's like, I know a flashlight that if I get it at Home Depot is going to cost me 20 or 30 bucks. Now I get it.
We've all gotten Home Depot flashlights that will last the test of time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could drop them on the fucking ground. You could step on them, run them over with a goddamn truck. Like, just because you attach it, the second it's got a Picatinny, it's the second it's got a pick rail mount on it, all of a sudden you've got a fucking $300-$400 flashlight. Fuck that. Right. So I saw this gap in the market where there was either, pure airsoft equipment that you could put on your rifles, or there was this like Gucci firearm equipment. Now you got to think this is a while back. There was really no in between. There are a lot of solutions now, but that's initially how the company was born. The company was born through my desire to be able to fill that gap, right?
Yeah.
To bridge that gap between, pure kind of garbage airsoft equipment and like really quality, high-end kind of Gucci equipment, right? And so that's where we kind of came in to fill that gap, creating affordable firearm equipment. And so I set that mission for the company and got it on the wall over there that every American has the opportunity to gain access to high-quality and effective firearm equipment at fair and reasonable prices. And so I still stick to that every American should be able to have access to Second Amendment gear, because it is our right to be able to exercise, and not just our right, but it's our responsibility to ourselves and to our fellows, and to our families to be able to exercise our Second Amendment so that we can protect ourselves against enemies, foreign and domestic, just like it was written, just like our forefathers intended. So based on all that, started getting more into tactical equipment. I just kind of knocked down one product at a time. And what I was getting at before I went on that little bender was if anybody wanted to start their own company or wanted to build their own products out, it's actually fairly simple if you start by reverse engineering. And what I mean by that is you can actually get online and see all the reviews and all the negative reviews on any products, including mine. So you'll find a product and you'll figure out, well, what do people want? I don't know. Look at all the positive reviews. Put those things in a spreadsheet. What don't they want? Look at all the negative reviews. Put those in a spreadsheet. Build your product around the things that people are already telling you, right? And that's how the products used to be built. And I still do that today when I'm canvassing for demands. What do people want? What don't they want? Can you fill the void? Can you fill that gap between what's already out there and what they want and don't want, right? And can you put that into a product? And so the information is available to you.
Right.
It's available to all of us. And so, instead of creating products that we want, that we think are good, use the data that the market's already giving you, that you can find publicly on Trustpilot, on Amazon, on any of these websites that have reviews, and use that to your advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that is how we came to be. I'm not going to dig into it anymore, but if you guys don't know who we are, we manufacture everything from, the battle belts to body armor and, optics, slings, rifle bags,
all the
assault
above.
packs, all the above. And eventually here in the next, within the next year, we will have a line of firearms as well, but not, again, with Tacticon. It's going to be a separate company.
Under Breakout.
Separate LLC, under Breakout Manufacturing. So
absolutely.
that's right. And how about you, Knowles? Where do you come from?
Where
Give
do
me the
I come
whys
from?
and the
Where do I
wherefores.
hail? So I was born and raised in Cottonwood, California, a little bit north of here. So it's closer to Oregon than Sacramento is. And for those who don't know, Cottonwood is a population 2,000. It's the next major city up is Redding, which has still only 90,000 people or something like that. But I grew up.
It's pretty country up there.
It's pretty country.
Can I interject real quick?
Absolutely.
For those of you that haven't been to California, we are not all riding around on unicorns sucking dick. There is actually a whole lot of there's a lot of country boys out here, and there's a lot of farm and agriculture out here in California.
Right.
So
that's something good to throw in is even though from the outside in, California looks super blue.
it does, yeah.
But the thing is, there is much more red in all of the states than people really realize. It's just these large congregations of blue cities. When you look at these quote unquote blue states, there is a lot of blue, like especially Oregon. I've had my fair share of going up to Oregon because it's beautiful up there. It really is.
Yep.
And it's close to where I grew up. So like you go into like Ashland and then you have Portland, super blue, but everything from there in between is just country and it is red.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's that. But anyways, back to that is, Cottonwood, super farm, country people, ranchers, all that. So got into firearms young. I remember saving up for my first BB gun when I was like 6.
Yeah.
I saw a Big 5 ad and I was like, Dad, I want this. And he's like, better start getting to chores. I'm like, damn it. I'm going to have to buy this myself. So that was like my first gun, right? Which was that BB gun. And then from there, he was like, let's go shoot 22s. Let's go shoot shotguns. My dad really cultivated that within me, taught me firearm safety, taught me how to be responsible. And it kind of took off from there. I went to my first pistol training course out when I was like 15, 16. And then there was no stopping it after that. Skeet's fun. Skeet's a blast. But once you do a pistol training course and like you have instructors, whether they're super vetted or not, getting into a course like that, and obviously, caveat, vet your instructors, make sure they're good, make sure they know what they're talking about. But that was still a good jumping point for me, which was like, hey, shooting doesn't have to be just like we go out and shoot soda cans on the bank of the creek, right? It was like, hey, there's a purpose to this. It's self-defense. And so, little backtrack, started martial arts at the age of 10. Been doing that been doing it every day for 10 years. And then the past 7 years, I just have been training at home. So 27 now. And then I started working with you, initially doing production when I came back from Los Angeles at around like 23.
That's right.
About something like that, 22.
You were making holsters.
Yep. I was making holsters in the back room.
That's right.
Yeah. Drove me a little crazy because I'm not meant for production. I got to stretch my creative freedom. But
you're a fucking Gen Z, dude.
Yeah, man.
That's why.
Well, hey, I still fit that millennial gap.
Yeah.
Just barely.
You're
barely. I'm like,
you're on the other end of it. Yeah. I'm at the older end of a millennial, I think,
Yeah.
and you're at the very
I'm the last year.
the
96.
last year. Yeah. And so am I. I think I'm actually the last year of a millennial in 83.
You mean
born in 83?
Gen X?
No, I think I'm millennial because I looked up like the
Millennial
age
ends
range.
at 96. I'm pretty sure.
Does it?
I think so.
Yeah, but it started in 83, didn't it?
I believe so.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think you and I are
We're like on
at
the opposite
fucking
spectrum of it.
tail
Yeah.
ends of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. I mean, I hate to, I'm not I'm not into astrology or anything crazy like that, right?
I'm
But
a Scorpio.
but when it comes to like the generational labels that we give ourselves, I mean, there genuinely is like a type of human that comes out of that category.
100%.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of crazy, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. And the further along we get, the more pussified and entitled I think we become. Because I'm not gonna lie, like I've had some entitlements in my life, and you look at the men that came before me and the generations before me, and they would have slapped the shit out of me.
Right.
It's just the way it is.
Oh,
Now
yeah,
I
like-
look at these cats coming up now, and I'm just like, it's the same thing, right? Where it keeps getting worse and worse. That's another conversation, probably another podcast. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I was just going to add that, like, my grandpa, I would listen to stories about him and his work experience. And he's like, yep, I would work for about $1.25 an hour, sweeping floors for 10 hours a day. I did that for 8 years. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
I worked at Sierra Pacific for like a day and a half, and I quit because I couldn't sweep floors. I was like, I can't do this. But anyways, worked with you, did holster production. We were talking about doing more that I could stretch my creative freedom with, doing whether it was like competition shooting or what we're actually doing now.
Yeah, I sent you to a CAGWorks class, and then you fucking quit. Remember that?
Yeah.
The internet knows now.
But here I am.
Here you are.
But here I am. Couldn't get enough of me.
Yeah.
And then, went back to Reading for a little bit during COVID and all that stuff, and finally got the call back that you were ready to start up some social media stuff. So now I am an official internet gun expert.
Officially.
Yeah. So that's my
PhD.
backstory.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is. Yep. And you're a good shot. You train, you put your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? You know not only a lot about firearms, but you know a lot about self-defense in general. Why don't you just drop a little bit of your background on martial arts?
Yeah. So like I said, I've been doing martial arts, Kempo karate for about 17 years.
Yeah.
Started when I was 10. And, you know, when you get kids into stuff like that at a young age, it really, at least for me, it shapes kind of who that person becomes, because it's very disciplined. It's very mind, body, spirit connection. Mm-hmm. So it's there isn't one without the other, right? So when I take that from whether it's an argument I have with my girlfriend, or a problem at work, or a problem with a video that I have, or just figuring out something new with shooting, it's always, all right, what's the physical aspect? What's the mental aspect? What's the spiritual aspect behind it? And that kind of all flows together. And so, you know, taking that into firearms are a martial art, and that's the exact way that I look at it. Is a lot of people, like I was saying before, you know, that shooting class, a lot of people just shoot their guns to have fun, and that's great, you know, have fun. Mm-hmm. But it is a martial art. It is an art of war. It really is. Yep. And so, you know, that's kind of what drove me to that, because hands are good, but, you know, firearms are the most effective means of self-protection. Mm-hmm. And so the body mechanics and the knowledge of how to, I'm going to use Haley's favorite word, you know, your body mechanics and your angular rhythms. I don't know what he says, but you know, really finding that cross between, you know, whether it's throwing a punch or presenting a firearm.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit of that.
Yeah, there was a little bit of background on Nolan, a little bit of background on me, a little bit of background on the company and how it all began. We've chosen a few topics to come out with in the you know, future podcasts. You know, I'll run through them right now. Do you want to kind of take a peek at those and just ramble some off?
Yeah, some of the things that
before you get into that, I do want to let everybody know that we are open to suggestions. So once you listen to this, if you're hearing it on YouTube, I have. Honestly, outside of YouTube, I have no idea how the podcast industry works. So if you found this on like Apple Podcast or Stitcher or...
Pretty sure it's only if we put it up there.
No, we're going to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're going to. But I just ask that you guys like it and you share it and you get it out there. And if you comment and you participate in this discussion, you know, I promise you, we will talk about or get into or dig into the things that you want to hear about. I just don't know what that is yet, because we haven't really found our audience outside of the video world yet. Right. So if you're watching this on YouTube, give us some insight on what it is you want to hear. If you want more humor, like, fuck, I'll rock you. I'll just sit. I'll sit here and just talk shit for 2 hours.
Stand up.
I can sit here and talk shit all day. If we want us to talk about training or just firearm regulations or what's new in the Second Amendment community and the news and policy, like, we could do that too. We're up to date on all that shit. If you want to talk about business, we can talk about that, you know, as it pertains to the firearm industry, because you know, obviously we're in it, and I don't ever plan on taking, you know, sponsorships for what we're doing here. And, you know, we technically just sponsor ourselves. I just ask that, you know, you guys engage, participate, share, like our stuff, and everything else is going to be free.
Yeah,
right?
Pretty much.
So, what do you got on there? What are some of the topics we were kicking around?
Yeah, so some of the topics that you will be able to tune in and listen to me and Jake's opinions on, and maybe some facts, definitely facts. But
I would hope so.
So like the history of the Second Amendment, where
Absolutely.
it comes from, what things were in other countries that were kind of like Second Amendment related things, right. Why it's so important. 2A companies versus pro 2A companies.
That's a good conversation to have.
Big topic.
Absolutely.
History of gun control, the demasculization of men, 2A elitism. So like brand elitism, people who get really
that's right.
stuck in their purchases or look down on others because they can't purchase them, i.e. the poor's argument. You know who you are. But stuff like that, and just concealed carry stuff, 2A stuff, law, all that good stuff.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Those are definitely some of the things. So hopefully that sparked some ideas for you so that you can come in here and hop down in these comments and share them. I don't know if you guys know this or have noticed this, but when we do our content and we're making videos and we post those videos and you guys comment and we reply to those comments, that is always 100% of the time Nolan or I commenting on those.
Yeah.
So
Carly.
Carly can jump in and so Carly is the lucky girlfriend of this man right here. So he's off limits, ladies.
But dudes, I'm just
But
kidding.
dudes, fucking all about it, dude. Yeah. He's trisexual. He'll try anything once, and as we like to say, Nolan's not gay, but $20 is $20. You know,
I'm amosexual.
I mean? He's amosexual. When you go in there and comment, and you see the replies to those comments, like 90% of the time, it is you or it is me, and then. Usually if they're just general questions that are being asked, like, hey, when is this drop, or when is this available, or how do you move the X on the thing Y, it'll be Carly responding to those. But and I say that for this because a lot of times you'll be like, who the fuck am I talking to right now? Am I talking to some customer service representative or am I talking to the actual two guys that are in this video?
It's us.
I can tell you right now, it's the actual two guys that are in this video. I promise you. Like, it is me or it's Nolan that's replying to it. You're having a conversation with one of us. And the reason why that's important to me is because if we're making content and we're trying to get to know our audience, we're trying to get to know the customers, and we're trying to build a community, it's important for you guys to know out there that we are actually the ones communicating with you.
Yeah, we
it's not just
value you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're not just we're not putting these videos up and then I'm hiring some third party to come in and say, hey, make sure all these comments get replied to. I will give you a perfect example of exactly that, right? It is usually me, especially like if you're getting comments in the morning between like 5:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, and you see the comments come in. Usually what's happening is I've got my son who is about a year old strapped to my chest, and I'm walking around with a cup of coffee and I'm just replying to comments. I'm reading every single one of these things and I'm replying to the comments. And I do that every morning. That's like my first 2 hours of the morning are spent like just walking around, either taking my son on a walk or I've got him strapped to me and I'm walking around and I'm just like commenting. And it's usually like talk to text. So if you see some weird shit come through, where like you're like, this guy doesn't know how to spell, or why the fuck why did he say this and this doesn't make sense, it's usually talk to text. I think that's going to wrap this podcast up because I could talk about that shit all day.
Episode 1. So
episode 1 is done.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, let us know what you think, and leave us some of those comments down there. I promise we'll read them, and we will take your suggestions into account when making future podcasts.
Absolutely.
All right.
I
don't know how to end this.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll see you in